I think yeah. I thought my zone calling would be the biggest trouble right now. But actually, I feel like I've been calling pretty well overall. I don't think that's like the struggle I'm having. I think the biggest thing right now is definitely calling off fights. Like while we fight something, calling it off and being like, alright, that's leave, because I am more down to just always fight a team 3v3 if it is like like no one around. Yeah, calling off the fights. I think I just need to be a little bit more assertive too. Like I'm naturally just assertive, but I think like there are moments where Jen and Dezign are just talking too much and over speaking me, and I just need to find a line to tell them to both just shut up and just listen to what I'm saying. Because yeah, I don't know. There's just too many times when like they're just like calling for a play that I don't want to do. Yeah, I know. It's not like there's a difference between comms, like comms. Like comms is like pretty much like stop talking and like let me hear. That's kind of what we say when we say comms. Like let me listen. Versus just telling them to shut up in that moment is like it's a very like direct type of like saying. If someone says shut up, then everyone is actually going to shut up because it's like a little like too abrupt, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Saying comms, right? Comms, but then there's something important in front of them, they're still gonna keep saying what they're gonna say. You know what I mean? But if you just say like shut up, like let me speak, everyone will be like, oh, what the fuck, and then kind of be like, okay, let me hear what he has to say. I think it's definitely something like that. I just have to find the middle ground of I think individually Dezign just needs to use his cues more and needs to just figure out how to play Valk, because he's playing Valk pretty like decent, but when I watch like enemy or like Keon play Valk right now, like it's like very like they're a good Valk player, you know what I mean, and they know when to use their jetpacks. And Dezign hasn't been playing in general, and also he hasn't played a lot of Valk compared to like Keon. So it's like no big deal on that. He's just learning, so that's just like a time thing. So I'm not gonna be too like anal about like his how he plays Valk. But in terms of communication, he definitely needs to calm more when being more aggressive. Jen, I feel like his communication needs to be more like he needs to listen, because sometimes I feel like when I say like he needs to listen, like sometimes I'm like speaking like, hey yo, like this, and like he just like doesn't hear it. Like it just takes him a while for it to get to him sometimes. But he's been doing a little bit better on that. Also like something was like the very last game, like he got a gold shotgun bolt and there's a purple shotgun bolt inside the other armory. I mean, I don't know what's in his backpack, but realistically he could drop a stack of ammo to just pick up that bolt for me, which I think would be beneficial even if I didn't have a shotgun or not. So that's just like something small that I noticed. But yeah, I mean, majority of the stuff that is our issues right now are really just too much comms sometimes. Like there's just like way too much talking in areas. Like while Furia's comms are very like calm and collected, they also just feel like there isn't a lot of comms from them. But it's also kind of like good that it's like that. But yeah, I think comms are just too flooded in some aspects, and I think the main issue right now that I'm having is, yeah, Alien is yapping to show you right now. I think the main issue right now is actually I'm having when Dezign was gone, I asked Jen to co-IGL to help me with it and see how it goes. And then before that, I told Dezign to help co-IGL. So right now they're both actually giving input in, which is good. I think giving multiple inputs are really solid. But like when it's in the heat of the moment, they're both giving too much information. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this is this and 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 this. I'm like, holy fuck, right? Like I can't even get a word out because I have two people kind of giving too much. So I think I will either tell one of them to just stop completely or just tone it down, because it's hard. Because if I tell them to tone it down, I think sometimes it could cause like them not speaking in certain moments where they should. Like a great example is like Guild. When I was teaming with him, so Gil does a really good job at just not suggesting anything. Like he sees a lot of things, and his role on Moist was always to just never give his input, right? Even if he has the right input, never give his input, and he never did. And like it was amazing how like he just had that like that like, you know, I don't know if the strength is the right word, but like discipline to not just say anything even if he saw stuff. He would always just kind of listen, and that's what made Guild a very like good teammate, because he's always playing next to you, always like doing what he needs to do rather than looking for extra stuff. And then here and there he'll be like, okay, like if there's a missing gap, he'll fill it. Versus like right now, I think the person who's doing that is definitely Jen, but sometimes it's like good to like, I kind of want to call in a way where I want both of my teammates to be the ones listening and being like that gap, and Dezign is looking for opportunities because he also was just like the IGL in the past, and naturally that's just the type of character he is. And I think like overall it is good because there are moments where I don't miss things, I don't catch things and I miss it, and they call it out. You know, like Dezign calls like, oh, we should do this, and it's a really good call. And yeah, it's strange because I've had this problem with Waltzy in the past whenever I was teaming with him, that like I would just kind of overcom or like give so much input that's also really good, but it's not in the right direction that Waltzy wanted it to go into. So it ended up being like bad for the overall like outcome of the game. So it's kind of like, do I have enough confidence in myself right now to just, in a way, not necessarily solo IGL, but more just like have both Gen and Dezign not give too much input? Because kind of like the day where we played with Enemy, and when we played with Enemy, we had just because Enemy didn't call for shit, like he just kind of just played, and there's moments where he's just running up and just doing kind of solo plays. Yeah, what's it called? I think like that day felt like very smooth in terms of like my calling, but I do think there was like opportunities I missed out on for sure. So it's kind of like, do I just trust the process that I'm going to know what to do in those moments, or do I just continue having them help me out? Because I want to say in scrims, because it's scrims and people are fighting and dying, there's going to be a lot of moments where it's just like, we're not going to get punished for making a pretty much a small mistake. But then when on a tournament, if we make that small like mistake, we're going out doing like random shit, or we're like not on the same page, or we're second guessing certain things, right? It could get us killed. And like that's the thing I'm afraid of, because I think if too many people talk, and like if I'm in a state of panic, like let's say like there's just a bunch of shit going on and people are talking, and I can't call, I might not be able to call anything and lead us in a direction, or vice versa. Let's say like I'm panicking and I'm not talking and stuff like that, then it would be very helpful if they take over, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of finding that balance and really figuring out like if I need that extra help. Because right now I actually feel like super confident about like what I'm calling for and what fights I'm taking, and like the macro side of it. I'm not too sure. I don't know. I guess like it really just depends on what they think too. Because I mean, while I do think chat, you do pay attention, I think sometimes you guys take personal, like if somebody dies early, like someone gets picked or dies first, or you know they're kind of like off on their own or stuff like that, like it's not always that person's fault. Like that last game, while like a good example is Dezign died first, I think that was more actually my fault, because I should have just played more safe. And I think if I played more safe and we took that fight and we killed them, me and Jen probably could have either resetted, like we could have ran away together for sure, and then got Design's banner, because they would not have ratted one guy's banner, I don't think, but maybe they would have, who knows. Yeah, overall we could have even 2v3 that. But yeah, I just kind of went for the solo chow because I thought Jen was gonna peek with me and shoot him, and then I just died and our game's over. So it's stuff like that that, like, you know, people don't kind of see whose fault it really is, and they just kind of assume, and then they're like, oh yeah, like a great example is like back then when I was teaming with on the old Dojo team, like I was the co-IGL, and like while I did make some really good calls, I do think like Design's calls were majority better in terms of macro and stuff like that. And I think like people always blame Dezign, even though like there are plenty of times I've counter called him, which was the wrong things. So hard to say what I want exactly. It's like, can we perfect both of our plays? And I think that the issue that I feel like we're having right now is that I genuinely think like the main problem that we could be having is that when it gets towards end games, like towards the back half, is when there's just a lot of clutter. You know what I mean? Throughout the mid game, like the beginning, there's not much a lot of talking, and towards like the mid, and actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it's actually kind of very similar with what happened with me and Moist. A lot of the beginning game, it was like Waltzy just kind of talking and leading, and then as it kind of got further, I started talking, in my opinion, too much. And it's like, not because like I wanted to take over, but it's just like in the moment, I felt like what I was saying was always beneficial and always going to be helpful for the team. But I can see now from like being in this position that it's not helpful, not good, right? Like it's always, you know, it's getting that, obtaining that more information is always going to like in a way help. But if I kind of already know my plan and know what I want to do, then that extra information is actually kind of just, and that's another reason why Waltzy just didn't want to team with me afterwards. I think is just he realized that, and I think he just wanted to, you know, kind of in a sense kind of do what I'm saying right now, is like just kind of make all the decisions. And by shutting down another player who's like co-IGLing or has like a, because I think there's like a difference between co-IGLing and just giving regular suggestions, right? Like Gen is not co-IGLing, even though he gives a lot of suggestions and, you know, he's kind of talks a good amount. Like I think every teammate should be doing that, you know what I mean, when they see moments like that. But like he does a really good job at not actually overstanding and pushing that line first. And a co-IGL will push that line. They will cross over. They will say like, oh, we gotta do this, follow me, you know what I mean? Like make like they're the ones who are actually counter calling. And I think like if the balance isn't there between the co-IGL and the IGL, it actually tends to hurt the IGL's macro and like decision making a lot more. And I think that was definitely an issue I had with Waltzy going into the EWC. I think for sure, like when we went to what's it called, Germany, the Germany land, I think our the counter calling and all that stuff actually was not bad. And I don't think I actually counter called that much. I think I definitely found like the synergy with him for sure in that terms. But I do think like there were times I definitely like force us to fight something in a way because I'm playing the crypto, and then maybe it's not always something that he wants to do. Yeah. If I were to like not give that input as a co-IGL, then I lose the value. Which I don't know. I feel like I definitely think on Moist, I definitely could have just been left as the Bangalore on that team. I do think that actually would have been pretty solid. Because like looking at it like now, like, you know, like Fury is doing pretty solid at having Madness on the Cat IGL, and then Hawkes was on the Crypto IGL, right? Like I understand that the micromanaging from Bang is always really good. You know, I definitely think like we could have had me on the Bangalore all that time, or even on the Pathfinder. I don't know. I still think like our comp was good. Us playing the Crypto, but I seriously thought like when Pathfinder was like meta, it was so strong, and I think we were just trolling. I genuinely thought we were just trolling, not paying the like. Yeah, I think because of the amount of time we had, the very little amount of time we had, I think we were just afraid to. Well, I wasn't afraid, but I think both Guild and Multi was probably just like not comfortable playing with the Pathfinder. That was like not every team is playing, and I think because Falcons was not playing it, which I do think they take a lot of inspiration from. That like because Falcons playing this is probably the better comp, and we didn't play that, and then yeah, it just didn't turn out well. But it also has different factors. Like I don't even remember what was the meta. It was a Pathfinder. What won EWC? It was Pathfinder, Bang, Crypto. Is it that? No way. It was Crypto. No way. Crypto was meta during that time. What did Alliance win with on EWC? Do you remember? It was Bang, Crypto, Seer? Yeah, no, it was Fuse. Yeah, like I definitely think we could have done Waltzy on Bang, me on Path, and Guild on Fuse. Like that, just like I think we would have fucking hard stomped. Like not gonna cap. Definitely. And then if we played that for EWC, I think for like regardless, I think EWC we definitely could have won with our comp. But I think in general, like we definitely could have done the bang path views, and done just as well. And then for what's it called? I don't know. The last tournament, the last land was kind of just unfortunate on the last day. We missed the momentum. I think overall our comp was pretty good. I do think the comp that was GG was playing, Gaming Gladiators. I think their comp was also really good. The Bang Newcastle Cat. That's kind of what you kind of see right now nowadays too. I think towards the end when we were playing the crypto pick that was really strong all through scrims, slowly started getting worse when more Newcastles and Catalyst got played, because Catalyst kind of just hard counters crypto. And yeah, I think like comboing the crypto with a Pathfinder would have been a lot better than having. I think that's what we played. Yeah, I think having Guild on Pathfinder would have been so much better for longevity. I don't know. Hard to say. Hard to say. Hard to say. Overall, we just kind of trolled towards the end, but